I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 157. Just a reminder before we start that you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. We are now part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all the fine podcasts featured on there, like Shard Select. Hosted by three longtime friends, these UK folk talk about movies and video games. Come for the gaming talk. Stay for the bickering and nonsense. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan. He survived the PAX plague, Robinson.
What's going on, man?
Well, Dan, we just got back from PAX.
4 days.
4 days of gaming goodness.
Man, it's exhausting. We did all 4 days. And we literally shut the place down like it was the club, right? Like we opened it up when the show floor opens, and we stayed until the show floor closed.
That's right. It was it was an amazing time. We saw a lot of awesome games. We met a hell of a ton of cool people. Hung out with a lot of good friends. We have a special PAX episode. It's a back-to-back. It's a twofer, right? So we're going to have a special episode. Please go and listen to that and hear all the great gaming goodness and just kind of all the stories and everything. That'll be episode 158. So check that out. In other news, because we picked up a lot of really cool stuff at PAX, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
we got a lot. You know, I had to hit my limited run fix.
Of course.
Every year we go to PAX.
Of course. The first thing we did is we went to limited run games, right? And you got a ton of games, and I got a ton of games. And you know what else, Dan? We have an April giveaway from us.
First, this is we've done giveaways before. This is our biggest giveaway yet. All right?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. From us to you, courtesy of Limited Run Games, we are giving away a copy of Shantae on the Switch. All right. So to enter, just follow us on Twitter, retweet, and tag two friends. We'll have a post up after this episode goes up. You can find it on Twitter. We'll have the contest rules there too. So just follow us, retweet, and tag two friends, and you'll automatically be entered. And we will be choosing a winner in 2 weeks for the copy of Shantae. So, best of luck to everybody. And
Shantae is an amazing game. Love that game. I have it on a Vita, and I think I actually have it. I don't think I have it on a Switch. Maybe I do have it on a Switch. Awesome. I have the special edition on the Vita. Awesome game. Love that game. If you love platformers, definitely try out Shantae.
Oh yeah. Like, the series is great. The visuals on the Switch version, like, out of this world. Yeah.
And they just announced Shantae, the fifth installment in the Shantae series.
That's right. Hits just keep coming, man.
So that's why we chose that game as a game to give away in April. First big giveaway. So I'm excited about that.
All right.
Also, you know what I'm excited for? Avengers Endgame. Now we talked about the trailer that came out a couple of weeks ago. We got another trailer that came out while we're at PAX.
Oh.
Awesome, because it's all the survivors coming together, right? Going to face Thanos, right? And you see Thanos just sitting there in all his armor, looking at everybody, and it's like, bring it, right? I was like, I'm floored for this. And pre-orders are out right now, and I got to tell you, this may be the biggest movie ever. Like this may
you're talking about gross box office dollars. It could be the biggest movie.
Yeah, listen, try to pre-order this thing. The website is down, right? Or running slow because like everyone's trying to see this. Everyone's trying to go out and see this when it first comes out.
I got to tell you something, Dan.
This may be able to beat this. Maybe this may be the Avatar killer. I got to tell you. I just want to say that.
I have to tell you something, Dan. There is a strong possibility that I will be seeing this movie a day early, fully covered, right, at the Alamo Drafthouse. Food and drink covered. Thanks to our good friend Anthony. He got the hookup apparently from one of his.
Holler if you hear me.
Holler if you hear me. I don't know how many tickets he has, but he said, "Hey, what are you doing the day before Avengers launches? Because has a good chance I'll have some tickets to go see Avengers paid for fully." Right?
You didn't tell me that. I didn't know that. Really?
I just found out today. So,
nice.
Super hype. I'm going to see if that comes through, because if not, I'm going to have to scramble to get tickets.
Listen,
I wouldn't mind seeing the game twice, seeing the movie twice, but
Listen, I don't need to see the movie. I don't need to see it like day one, right? Like I could see it that weekend.
Right, because you don't. Well, if you don't get tickets now, you're not going to see it this weekend.
I find a way. You said the same thing about Black Panther, and I found a way to see.
And you
Black
were sitting
Panther.
in the front row.
I was not sitting in the front row. I was sitting in the fifth
pretty
row.
close to the front row. I was sitting pretty close to the front row. Yeah, that is unideal, Dan. That is unideal.
I was sitting in the fifth row. Okay, it was okay. It was fine.
It could have been better if you just took my advice and pre-ordered your tickets ahead of time.
I'm good. I don't.
Well, then you're gonna sit in the fifth row.
I find a way. You know what? Fifth row was fine. The fifth row was fine. But the first row was fine too.
See. There's no sense in arguing with you over this. You're just going around.
I'm very stubborn. I don't like the pre-order stuff.
I'm with you. I understand. I am also very stubborn, Dad. We are two stubborn individuals. So that I understand. But given the choice of saying, hey, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out, a month out, you can get tickets for this thing. All right, I'll make it an appointment, right? I'll say, okay, this particular Friday, I am gonna go see this movie. I'm not gonna do anything else but see this movie. And I make it happen, I've never missed a movie I've had tickets for.
And I've never missed a movie I never pre-ordered.
Well, there you go.
I will have a story on how I got to see this movie opening weekend and didn't sit in the first row.
Yeah, there was some. I have to say there was some great memes that came out of, because like the whole tagline is "Avenge the Fallen," right? Mm-hmm. So they have all the people that are,
Well, yeah, the people who've fallen, because it's like Avengers Endgame.
Right, exactly. So spoilers,
Well, the best one was Stanley. I'm sorry. Like, he was the fallen.
Yeah, that was actually kind of touching. But that was actually, that really kind of got me a little bit. I almost shedded a tear over that, because, Stan's not going to come back. They can't undo the snap for Stan, sadly. And, that just, that like super sucks, but. I did see one, and I thought of you. They had like Avenge the Fallen, and then behind that they had a PS Vita.
Let's not talk about that.
And I was like, oh, Dan's got to be shedding a tear, because that one's definitely got to hit home.
That one hits home. Rest in peace. That's fine.
That was definitely the best one out of all those. So, yeah.
It's one of the most underrated handheld systems of all time. Behind the turbo.
You know what? I'll give you that.
At least we agree on that one. At least we can agree on that one.
I will give you that.
I'm sorry, but Saturn and Xbox, the other two.
Those aren't
consoles
handhelds
of all time.
I hate
the underrated consoles.
They're not a handheld.
Underrated consoles.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely disagree on that.
Yeah, I think the Dreamcast was rated, but I digress.
Dreamcast was rated.
It was underrated. It was rated. Fairly rated.
No way.
It was rated.
No way. You kidding me?
And then we got the Dreamcast 2, which was called the Xbox. But let's stick.
A poor follow up. Let me tell you.
Let's stick with the Avengers. Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man. I gotta say, great Spider-Man, by the way. He's a fantastic Spider-Man, right? They took it back to his roots of Spider-Man being in high school, right, and being, this nerdy high school kid that's. He has like all these funny one-liners and witty, right? I love his dynamic with Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah, so good.
I really dig
good.
it. But funny enough, Tom Holland can't keep his mouth shut. So apparently, they never really gave him the script for Avengers Endgame. Spoilers, he survived the snap, right? He must. Well, he comes back from the snap at least.
I mean, yeah, because Spider-Man 2 comes out. Well, I mean, the movie.
Well, we don't
comes
know.
out
It's weird, right?
The timeline. The timeline is we're unsure of the timeline.
Yeah, we're unsure of the timeline, but he's obviously in Avengers Endgame, right? And he disappeared in the original Avengers, so he has to come back in Endgame.
Right.
So, because they didn't give him any context for a scene. They didn't tell him who he was in the scene with.
Right.
And they never gave him the script. They just sort of, gave him his lines that he had to say. Yeah, because apparently ridiculous. He can't keep his mouth shut.
Yeah. It's it's not a good look. It's not a good look. It's good that they keep him. It's good that they're keeping him in the other world and not getting another actor who can keep his lip shut, because Tom Holland is great, so I know that
Tom Holland's fantastic, but come on, man, like it
happens, man. You get real nervous when you're on those shows. Like, think about it. You're sitting up there, you're an audience of like 300, maybe 400 people, right? You got all the stage lights on you, right? The cameras are rolling. It's being broadcast across the U.S., right? Jimmy Fallon puts a mic to your face and he goes, yeah, so tell us about your new movie. And you go,
Listen, Mark Hamill.
I would spoil the whole movie.
Listen, Mark Hamill had to keep in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. He had to keep to himself for a year that Darth Vader was his father.
I mean,
right?
Sure.
He said they shot 2 different scenes where I forgot what the other thing was. He said, "Hey, I'm your father," and the other one was, "I killed your father," or something like that.
Right.
The crew didn't know, but he knew. And he said that George Lucas said he only told 3 people, and if it came out, he would know who it was.
Exactly. Keep your inner circle small. See, Lucas knew his stuff back in the day. All right, people kind of rag on him and whatnot, but he definitely had some good ideas for a little while.
I thought that was funny. So come on, if that's the case, you got to be able to keep your mouth shut, Tom. Right? Come on. Harrison Ford is a major star, and even he didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke's father.
Right. Keep him out of the
loop. He didn't know until they watched the movie.
He's just like, come
on, that was funny. Come on, Tom Holland, keep your mouth shut. All right, let's get into a serious note real quick. I don't want to stay. This I always hate to talk about like sad things and disturbing things like this, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it. So we have mentioned it on the show.
Yeah. I mean, it's a follow up to a story. What, last year before, maybe?
No, it was a follow. Well, we did cover it when it first happened, and we covered it when he was found guilty a few months ago. So the man who sort of committed the swatting on this Call of Duty swatting, they call it the Call of Duty swatting, COD SWAT.
Sure. I mean, he
was found guilty.
He was playing Call of Duty, and he got real angry at some dude.
Somebody else was playing Call of Duty and got angry at some dude and sort of asked him to SWAT. It wasn't him, I don't think.
Oh, that's right. But he was the one who basically, like, he said, "Okay, I'll take care of that for you," right? And he went.
Well, he was a serial swatter. Like, he did swatting, not just video game swats. He did swatting all over, like a bunch of times. And a Kansas man in 2017 was accidentally killed in this swatting. The guy, the feds raided his house, and he pulled something out, and the cops thought it was a gun and shot him to death.
Of course.
So it wasn't even the right address. This guy is like from the guy that was playing Call of Duty. This was like the neighbor.
Right. If you're gonna call in these threats, right?
Don't call in any threats.
The SWAT team is gonna be on a high alert, right? You can say like, "Oh, but I didn't do it. It wasn't my fault. I was just pulling a prank and whatnot." No, dude. You effed up, and now you have to pay, right? So this guy's getting 20 years because he caused this dude's death, right? This guy's death who has a family.
you know what? Let's get this guy's name out there. Tyler Barris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Barris. They always want to plaster people's names all over, and without any evidence, right? And we talked about that mob culture last episode, a couple episodes ago, where people just jump to conclusions without getting all the facts, and they plaster people's names out there and
right.
And go crazy over somebody.
You could potentially smear somebody's good name. This is not a good dude, right?
Yeah, Tyler Barris. I want to get his name out there. Google him. Go to any major gaming website. You can find this guy's picture and name out there. Let's smear his name because he's a douchebag.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Tyler Barris didn't want any of this stuff to go down. But dude, somebody died.
I'm not saying he wanted anybody killed, but what do you think is going to happen when the FBI and SWAT team, raid somebody's house? It's always a potential. They're not going in. Listen, it's not a video game. They're not going in with lasers. They're going in with guns and bullets.
Exactly.
All right.
Don't mess around with that stuff. And
if anybody makes
seriously.
if anybody makes a sudden move, the cop or the law enforcement have a split-second decision to make a decision if their life is in danger to shoot. All right,
yeah.
That is the hardest thing to do. We do it in video games like it's nothing because you know why? We can always hit reset, but in real life, that doesn't happen. And this dude's a douchebag. Yeah. So
100%.
he gets the douchebag of the day.
He's getting his 20 years. Justice has been served. So. I guess that's the end of that story, right?
And I just want that I want that to serve as an example that don't do this. This is terrible. Don't do this.
No.
Usually this is the part of the show where I would say, as we always epically fail, Dave.
We always try and start the show and epically fail. God, you gotta get it right. You gotta get it right.
I gotta get my own rigmarole right.
Exactly.
But we're gonna fail this week because all the stuff that we've been playing is in our PAX episode.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so we played a lot of games at PAX, and I played a lot of games just waiting in line or in the hotel while we're in PAX East. So if you go listen to our PAX East episode, you'll hear all the games that we played during PAX. But I want to say this: I did get a bunch of pickups when I got home from PAX.
Hey, well, I didn't get any, so I want to hear what you picked up.
I totally forgot I even picked up these games.
Oh.
I ordered them, again, my Lukey Haul, hashtag my Lukey Haul. Love Lukey Games if you're a retro gamer, and, they're not sponsored. I wish they were, but they're not sponsoring the show.
Love them as a sponsor.
If you're a retro gamer, definitely go to LukeyGames.com and pick up some games. They have a lot of games fair price. All right, and you get Lukey points. The more games you buy, the more points you get, and you can accumulate the points to get free games. That's how I got a bunch of expensive games, a bunch of expensive games. But I picked up Predator: Concrete Jungle for the OG Xbox. I picked up Predator 2 for the Genesis. I thought that was an underrated game. I never played Concrete Jungle, but Predator 2 I did play at a friend's house a long time ago. I like that game. I thought it was an underrated game. Also got Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle for the NES.
Oh boy, you got the cream of the crop here, Dan.
I got the cream of the crop, and I got Borderlands the pre-sequel. I can't believe I don't own this game. I couldn't believe I didn't own this game. I got it for the PS3.
The pre-sequel. I know why you got Borderlands the pre-sequel, and we're gonna definitely talk about that in the PAX episode. So you're gonna have to stay tuned to figure out why.
Well, but I mean, all the stuff that Gearbox was teasing on Twitter, I had to make sure I had all my Borderlands games,
of course,
just in case. All right, why don't we take a break? And when we come back, we'll get into the top 10 gaming news of last week. And we're back. All right, let's get into the top 10 gaming news of last week while we're at PAX, by the way. So keeping up with the news was crazy because
a lot of news came out this week.
It was a lot of news. I wasn't expecting.
We thought it was going to be slow, but no.
I thought we would cover. I thought all the big news would come out of PAX, right? And we would cover it like in our PAX episode, but so many things came out outside of PAX that we had to do a separate show, like our normal rigmarole, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. First on the docket, Sony announced its state of play. I was pretty excited about this, right? This is like the Sony's first sort of direct where they control the message, especially since they skipped Sony Experience in 2018 and they're skipping E3 in 2019. I still think they're going to be at Tokyo Game Show, and I think they're going to be. They're usually historically not at Gamescom. I think they're going to have a Sony Experience at some point. At the end of 2019. They haven't
announced anything yet, though. But
they haven't announced anything. But I'm going to speculate that we're going to have sprinkles of these state of play, right? And then they're going to have a Sony Experience at the end of the year.
I mean, something's gotta. They have to have some platform to announce the PS5, right? Like we need to hear about something this year, right?
We have to. Well, and we'll get into it in our next story, but I think there are some leaks and rumors that we will get cleared up at some point this year. My predictions of 2019. You know, the biggest thing I think that came out of this was hashtag Dan was right. Dan's a prophet. I'm a prophet.
Well, there you go. Just go ahead and pat yourself on the back right there. But no, you are. I was bugging out because I was like, Dan, did you see the state of play? Did you see the state of play? The first damn video, Iron Man VR. Iron Man VR.
Listen, I tried to save Anthem. I tried to save Anthem.
I know.
I did. I really did try to save Anthem.
It was $1 million idea, and obviously Sony thought so.
Well, let's just, to be fair, I think this state of play was more of a state of play VR, right? Because
it was 100% state of play VR. Like, I think 90% of the games were all like VR.
90% of the games are VR, and the biggest game they had the biggest sort of new game they announced, I should say, because the biggest game we'll talk about a little in a minute, but the biggest new game they announced was Marvel's Iron Man VR. You're flying as Iron Man, and you're shooting hand cannons out, right? You're shooting different aircrafts out the, out the air,
sky, and all that. Yeah. I mean, it
looks cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if this could be a full game though, like that. Like I could see this being an Iron Man game with certain levels that are VR ready, right? That would have been better. I think if they had made this into like a full AAA game, like Spider-Man, with certain levels where you can use the VR PSVR headset if you choose to, right? I think that would have been better, personally. But I am a genius. I did coin. I said it should be like like Anthem should be like your Iron Man in a mech suit, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. It was a damn good idea. I mean, it took them long enough to kind of put this together. So I'm probably gonna get it. I don't see why not. If it's like $15-20, boom.
You're all for this though. Like you're all for PSVR. More so than me. Like you're all about it.
Well, we both own it, Dan. We might as well use it.
I'm not gonna lie, mine's collected some dust.
It has legit good games out for it. I don't care what you say. You say the killer IP isn't out yet. I say there's several killer IPs, right? If you want a first-person shooter, if you want racing games, if you want like action platformers, if you want Tetris, you have it. If you want Resident Evil with chainsaws, which is terrifying, you have it. There's a ton of good stuff, and not just it's good for a VR demo, tons of legit good games.
I'm not denying that.
I know.
I'm just saying it doesn't have the killer app where everyone needs to play this game. I can live without playing Wipeout in a VR headset. I 100% don't want to play Resident Evil in a VR headset. I don't want to play Resident Evil at all, let alone in VR.
It's okay. We all know you're scared of zombies.
I don't do the spooky. I don't do spooky games. I do. I don't mind the spooky movies, but I don't do spooky games. I'm sorry.
I know.
That's
I
not
know.
the Evil Within.
It's okay. I saw you at the Days Gone booth at PAX. You were frightened by the real zombies.
I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna go play another game. I can wait for Days Gone to come out. Speaking of Days Gone was the big game that they showed at the end of the Direct. I don't know how I feel about them ending it with Days Gone, like more gameplay footage, right? More in-depth story. I am sold on the game itself. It's not a spooky game in a sense of like a Resident Evil horror survival game. The freakers, as they call them, they're zombie-like, but they're not really zombies. And you can use them as a weapon. The only issue is you got to make sure you have gas so you can gas up your motorcycle as you traverse through the map.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get stuck
because if you getaway, of course. Yeah.
You need a getaway. And they're not, and the freakers aren't the main they're not the main enemy in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Again, you can use them as a tool. So that in that sense, I'm excited about sort of just the story element of Days Gone, and I can't wait to play it. I'm sold. I didn't get to play it. Spoilers for the PAX episode. I didn't play Days Gone at PAX. It was playable, but I didn't get a chance to play
it.
Well,
the lines were like crazy long, so it's
and it's a game that's coming out in a few weeks, so it's like, you know what? I can wait.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I did like that. I did like that Concrete Genie game that we kind of heard about and saw like a while ago. The magic paintbrush neon game, right, where the kid has to like bring his town back to life by like painting on the walls and doing like graffiti and whatnot. They had that. That's kind of definitely back in the purview. It's coming out, I think, this year, so very excited for that. That looks like a pretty cool game.
The big new other VR game other than Iron Man, they showed sort of in the middle, was the Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted, right?
Yep. Definitely not a. I mean, I really don't like the Five Nights game because I think I don't know. I just think it's a little too simple, and everyone goes nuts over it. I mean, it's the same game every time, and everyone just goes nuts over it, and it's just kind of I'm over it. So the fact that they have a VR version is like, I'm good.
Then No Man's Sky has a VR version. I mean, No Man's Sky is back, resurrected from the dead with the new update.
So crazy to even think. A game that, like, it came out, everyone was, like, super hype. It came out, everyone was like, oh, this is it?
Right?
And they persisted. There's been, like, 5 big updates, and now there's a new, like, VR coming to No Man's Sky. So, I gotta get back into this, man.
The game has changed. It's no longer the game that launched, right? No, and when did it come out? 2015, 2016?
I think it was 2016, yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely have to get back into it. And you know what? It has a VR version. I'm willing to try that in VR, not Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm sorry.
Well, first you gotta dust off your headset, Dad, and then you can get back into it.
I told you I got that dust that just doesn't come off when you blow it. I got that. I got that accumulative dust.
You got that permadust.
Yeah. I definitely need some Windex.
I understand.
All right. One of the big things that I was excited for at first when I heard about it while we were at PAX, and then like my hopes just got dashed, was that leaked. Well, it was sort of supposed to be the leaked PS5 DualShock 5 controller, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The screenshot made the rounds on the internet.
It was supposed to be a dev kit for the PS5, right? Because we know PS5 dev kits are out there.
Oh yeah.
And it was a controller. It was sort of like a PS4 controller, a little, with the screen, a small screen. Instead of a touch in the middle, it was like a small screen, LCD screen.
Like, a little like a widescreen thing, It certainly could have been, could be like a PS5 prototype or something that they're working on or whatnot, but apparently not.
Well, it's fake. Apparently, the Jason Schreier from Kotaku has confirmed that that controller is a fake. However, it can't be far from the truth, going off the trademarks and rumors and stuff like that, right? Like this has to be something. It has to be somewhat similar to what it will look like, the final version. So I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if it would look exactly like this.
I think it needs a little bit of work. It feels a little like the PS3 controller. It feels like a step back.
Really? Well, you think it looks like looks like a step back? I think it looks fine.
It could use a little more work. It could use a little more polish. Send it back to the studio. Let the engineers work on it a minute.
Well, we can't really. It doesn't have sort of like we can't see the whole thing. It's just the front. So I don't know how the grips look, and I don't know how heavy it is. If it has weights on the ends, and you know, if it feels comfortable in the hand. It definitely needs some padding around it. So whoever made this mock-up definitely they definitely did a mock-up of a dev kit controller, not the actual. So I actually like the idea of the PS5, the DualShock 5 controller having the screen.
I mean, I thought since you are the PlayStation guy, Dan, I figured it'd be good to ask you like what you would think, or what would be kind of cool, or what you would expect out of a kind of a PS5 controller, right?
The PS5 controller, I don't want it to be sort of a second screen, so to speak, like the Wii U. Well, first of all, it's not big.
Well,
enough.
that was a debacle. Yeah, the Wii U.
Well, first of all, it's not big enough to be a second screen, right?
Also true.
If all the rumors, all right, let's take it back. Let's take 2 steps back.
Sure.
There are 2 rumors out there. The rumor is the screen is the same size as the touch sensor on the DualShock 4, right?
Which is about what this is, yeah.
Which is about what the fake mock-ups are, which is too small to be a second screen, right? That screen, if it's that small, it would have to just be like sort of inventory or settings or something along that nature, and still be touchscreen. I like the touchscreen feature in the PS4, to be honest, especially when I'm going through the menu and I'm typing out, when you want to type out something in search, you don't have to actually move the dual
the analog
D-pad
stick around, yeah.
Or the analog stick.
You can do like the swipe touch, right?
You could just use a swipe touch and quickly go to the letters and spell out whatever you want to search. And the second rumor mock-up is sort of like a PSP, right? It looks like a PSP, and that is like the main controller where it would be a second screen because the screen would actually be bigger.
Right.
I wouldn't mind that. The problem is they would have the same. Well, I guess they would have sort of the same issue as the Wii U, where it's tethered to the PS4. It wouldn't exactly be the Switch, but it would be more dynamic, fit in the hand, and it would feel a lot better in the hand than that big clunky Wii U gamepad.
Yeah, well, the Wii U gamepad needed some work. It was definitely a product of its time, but
I never used the Wii U. Even now, I have 2 Pro controllers for the Wii U, so I don't use the Wii U gamepad.
Right. Well, here's the thing: if they do go with the PS Vita or Wii U style screen, you're looking at like $100 a controller, right? If you can hook up more big screen controllers to your system, right? If you can do it more than what the Wii U had. The Wii U was just a one screen, and then other nunchucks or Pro controllers or whatever would be compatible with it, and you would use those for the other players and whatnot, right? If you could buy other screens, it'd be like $100 like minimum for that. So
I wouldn't mind them having a 3-tier controller setup where you have sort of the PSP like controller where it's a second screen experience, right? Where maybe you can buy a PS5 that doesn't have that controller bundled in it, right? And you can have a PS5 controller that sort of has a screen that's not meant to be a second screen, but a second screen as far as inventory and menu, like the one that's mocked up here, the fake one. I could do that. And then you could have a regular DualShock sort of 4 that sort of just maybe changed slightly. Maybe I think I love the DualShock 4, don't get me wrong, but I think it could change a little. I think you change it a little bit slightly to be slightly more comfortable in the hand. It could be slightly heavier with a little bit more padding, and I think that could be great. So I wouldn't mind having a 3-tier system with the controller, and that could be the selling point for the PS5, where you can play how you want. You have 3 different controllers to choose from, and 3 different price tier, for the controllers, where people always try to buy all 3, right? I'm gonna have all 3. I'm gonna buy all 3.
You buy everything, Dan.
I buy everything, Dan.
There's
that is my
you don't
name.
Buy. I mean, it's just a given. It's just a matter of when. When is Dan going to buy it?
It's not if I'm going to buy it. It's when I'm going to buy it.
It's exactly that. Yeah. So, I mean, that would be kind of interesting. As long as they're not tying you into any particular play style, like the Switch, you can play any way you want. You can play with the nunchuck separately. You can play in dock mode. You can play with a Pro controller. You can play handheld with the screen. You got options. You got options on like every single game. Every single game has like a different way to has multiple ways to play, which I am certainly on board with. Right.
I just can't wait for next gen.
No,
I really can't. I'm excited. No. E3 is almost here. We're a couple of months away.
Of course, man.
All right, let's get into our lead story. Mm-hmm. While we were gone, the big news drop, like these rumors that we heard months ago are heating up, right? Because the mainstream media now has gotten into it, and there are big rumors that Nintendo will not only drop one new Switch model, but two SKUs, a more advanced one, enhanced one, sort of like a Switch Pro, and what Dave calls a Switch
the
Lite.
Switch. It's the light switch, and if they don't call it the light switch, they're missing out on a big opportunity. I'm telling you.
I will put a Shake Shack bet that they will not call it the light switch.
Like I said, I'm not betting with you anymore. So that bridge is crumbled. That bridge is crumbled. Yeah, I mean, this is it's kind of a no-brainer. It's a couple years out. Nintendo's known for doing this, right? Especially with their handheld models.
Well, this comes from the Wall Street Journal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the Wall Street Journal says they have sources that confirm that there will be two Switch models out this year. A more enhanced version, right? And I guess a more enhanced version would be sort of a slightly better processor and a better screen resolution, right? Do you think it would be bigger? I don't think it would be bigger.
Well, I mean, the one thing is that it still needs to fit inside the dock. So you could go larger and still have it fit within the dock, right? You could have a larger screen. I honestly think it's going to be more. I think it's going to be a better processor and more RAM, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which will lead to better performance in games. I don't necessarily think they're going to have higher fidelity visuals, right? Because remember, the game needs to perform on the original hardware as well as the new hardware, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's always the thing. It's the same with the PS4, right? PS4 games need to be able to play on the Pro as well as the regular system.
But we had the new Nintendo 3DS XL where certain games only played on that one, on that system.
There was a handful. I can count maybe like three.
There was less than a handful.
Yeah, there was only like 3 or 4, honestly. You could do that, but it was Fire Emblem Warriors, Blade Chronicles 3D, and then there Xenoblade Chronicles, yeah.
And then there was that Hyrule game. That
Hyrule Warriors, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that played better on the new Nintendo 3DS XL, and if you played it on the old one, it was unplayable.
Right. So you definitely don't want to have that happen if at all possible, right? You want
Red Dead. You want Red Dead, you got to play on the Switch Pro. I'm sorry. You got to play on the Switch Pro if you want Red Dead.
Yeah. Imagine. So, I think, when game developers start building their games to work with the new enhanced RAM and everything else and this and that, maybe there's options. Maybe you can do like performance or better visuals, right? Depending on the version of the system you have. A lot of the new PS4 and Xbox games have that, either a, performance or a visual slider. Right, and you can kind of like choose what your experience is based on your system. That is an option, obviously, and you get kind of some extra goodies, a little bit of salt on your new Switch game. So that could be interesting. But yeah. I mean, I 100% think this is going to be a thing, right?
Wow, this year, because they said this year. They said
yeah,
it's coming out this year.
I don't doubt it. Nintendo Switch already came out underpowered over the Xbox One and PS4, right?
Well, it was Xbox 360 in your hand.
Exactly. Now it can be almost an Xbox One in your hand, right?
Yeah.
How great would that be?
Well, we're at the Xbox Prime level.
Yeah. Well,
if it comes out this year, that makes total sense because historically, other than the GameCube coming out the same year as the Xbox, I think, because they didn't know Microsoft was going to be a major player.
Right.
They've usually come out a year before or year after.
Right. Yeah, they're always kind of doing their own thing. So
Yeah. I mean, Wii U started off the next generation.
mm-hmm.
But honestly, I don't even count the Wii U as the next generation. I still count the Wii U as far as the 360 generation because it was a Wii that had an HDMI port directly in it with the gamepad. It was the same. It was the same system essentially.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything different.
It was very weird.
So, and then you have the Switch, and you have the light switch, right? So we've talked about sort of a lesser version that killed off the 3DS, where the Joy-Cons wouldn't come off. There would be no HD rumble. So that means there would be a D-pad on it. My only issue is, will it be the same size as the Switch, or will it be a little bit smaller? And if it is a little bit smaller, it obviously won't fit the dock. Right.
Well,
so
yeah, I don't necessarily know.
Will
if
you have
it
a modified dock, or will it even dock at all?
Well, they could certainly do a smaller dock that would fit for that, or maybe it wouldn't have any. I mean, it's obviously not going to come with the dock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would assume also that the Joy-Cons would probably be like hardwired to the system, maybe to kind of save on costs a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you could hook up other peripherals to it and whatnot, but I think that would get you at a $250, maybe even like under $250 price point, right? And that would be the replacement for the 3D XL that's out right now. It's like
if you want to kill the 3DS XL, you got to make the original Switch cheaper. I would say the original Switch would be $250, and then the light Switch would be $189, and then
under
the Switch
$200.
Yes, and then the Switch Pro. Well, you're taking a lot. You're taking the dock out. You're making it smaller. The Joy-Cons don't detach. You don't have HD rumble.
Yeah. I mean, it's a possibility. It's certainly a possibility.
And then the Switch Pro would hit that $300 price point.
Oh, at least that's going to be at least $300, right?
I think Nintendo historically doesn't want to go crazy with their price points, right? So they want to make it more. They want to make it affordable, even though if it's a Pro. Right. So. And we both. I would buy both. I'm just out the gate. I'm sorry. You know.
We know that. We know that. I would definitely go with the Pro model, and I would put the OG model back in its case probably, and then use that. Take that around. Probably have to buy a new case for it, right? So there's that.
Well, you know what? I would do what the commercial said to do. I'm gonna play it in the can. The OG Switch would be in the bathroom.
Wow, you just have it as like you have it as one of those like bathroom reader books, right?
There you go.
Oh, this is real interesting. Maybe I'll knock out a Zelda dungeon. I got some time.
Yeah, it's in. I have a computer monitor in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I can just put the dock there, so I can, while I'm on the can, I can just play. I can play it in dock mode on the computer screen.
Things we never knew about Dan Robinson. He's got screens all over the place.
I got screens everywhere, baby. I got screens everywhere. If I can put a screen in my shower, I have a shower. I don't have a tub. I put a screen in my shower so I can play the Switch in the shower.
It's crazy.
Let's stick with Nintendo. And speaking of Zelda, we know we're gonna get Zelda Link's Awakening remake, right? That I know a lot of people are a little about the art style. I think it's great. It looks awesome. There are hints that Nintendo. When are we gonna get a new mainline Zelda game? Already, I know we got one 2 years ago. They made this engine, and they said that they made a brand new engine for the Breath of the Wild, and they said they want to have 2 Zelda games out of it, right?
Right. They want to get a little more juice out of it. So I mean, we're
definitely gonna get a Zelda game on the Switch, right? Not the next,
whatever the next console they put out is going to be. No. I think you're right based on what Nintendo says, and based on this news here that it looks like they're hiring Monolith, the makers of the Xenoblade series, to work on the next Zelda game, right? Which is, by all accounts, I think going to be a 3D Zelda, right? Because as you said before, they're doing the remake of Link's Awakening, so that's like kind of the like 2D-esque style, a little bit, top down and whatnot. It makes sense that they would be, putting out a sequel to I think the most successful Zelda game of all time. Am I wrong?
I think it's the best Zelda game of all time.
Yeah,
and let's not forget Cadence of Hyrule, right? The Necrodancer crossover, Crypt of the Necrodancer crossover will have a Zelda Zelda and Link skins in it, right? So you can play as them in the sequel to that game. So, fun fact, real quick. Miyamoto, the reason why Zelda's in that game is because Miyamoto played the original Crypt the Necrodancer. Loved it so much. Yeah. He loved it so much that he called the developers and said, "Hey, are you making a sequel? Because you could use Zelda. This would be a great Zelda game, right? Zelda would be great in it."
See, there you go.
Oh, Link and Zelda, Zelda characters,
right?
So
right.
That's awesome. I think that's awesome. I think that's why that's one of the reasons why a lot of people gravitate to the Switch, like a lot of indie games, because you never know who's going to play your game.
That's right.
Miyamoto may just play your game.
That's right.
And say, you know what? He wants Mario in it, or Star Fox, or Zelda. So, I think this is a no-brainer. Like, if Monolith is making it, I think that's great. The Xenoblade,
they have a real good track record. You know, the Xeno series games have all been like really good. You know,
I think I mean, listen, I tried to play Xenoblade on the Wii U. I gave it the good college try. Wasn't my jam.
JRPG. You know, granted it's an action JRPG, but it's got all those trappings that you may or may not be into. I don't know.
But I played a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Switch.
When
it came out last December, didn't make the Game Awards. Didn't make the Game Awards this year either.
Well,
last year I should say.
Yeah.
When it came out in 2017 in December, it didn't make the rounds in the Game Awards that came out a month prior, and then it didn't make the rounds the last Game Awards.
Of course not, because it's so far. You know, it's so far away. Everybody forgets. Oh yeah, this game came out after the last award show. It technically is viable to be, to be nominated. Right? It was a very good game. It got very good scores, but no,
I really think. In Smash Brothers, I'm curious to see, and as a side note, I'm curious to see how Smash Brothers is going to do, or if they're even going to be nominated for anything at the next Game Awards.
I think they are, given how much of an impact Smash has, and Kiwi's a smart dude. He knows. I think he's going to get that in there. I would be shocked if there's no Smash nominations.
I would be shocked too, and I would be disappointed, and then I would say, you know what? I'm sorry, Jeff Keighley. I think we need the Game Awards in January.
Right, because all the award shows happen in the new year. Come on.
It does. That's true. That is true. I mean, look, we talk about the news a week later.
Exactly.
There you go.
We talk about the games of last year in the next year. Right?
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Also, sticking with Nintendo Online, I know you think Nintendo Online leaves much to be desired. I think it's rated. I think it's okay. It's $20 a year to play.
I mean, it's certainly getting
NES
better.
Games.
They've been adding more offerings for sure. They're still missing out on some features. It's not as feature ready as the Xbox or PlayStation, though. You can at least agree with me on that.
I agree with you on that, because they don't have native voice chat. Well, some games do, some games don't. Like Fortnite automatically does, but if you want to play Splatoon natively, it doesn't. Which sucks.
Right, it's obviously something that's like not baked into their system. You kind of have to. The developer, I think it's on the developer to kind of build that out. Where the Xbox and PlayStation, it's kind of like table stakes, right? It's it's built into their system. It's just a matter of you setting up your code and whatever to kind of latch into that API or whatever it is, right? And I just really don't think Nintendo has that on the board. They're like, look, you want to do that, you can find ways to do it. It's fine and whatnot, but we don't have any way to really support that out of the box. So
I think listen, I love it. Honestly, it's all the other systems keep going up in price, right? Now it's $60 if you want to have, I mean, $60 for a year, but if you want to have PlayStation Plus, Xbox One. And now PlayStation Plus has taken away Vita games and PS3 games. They haven't added anything to it, which I do think they will add PSVR support.
Yeah,
they have to be coming. They have to be coming. I'm sorry. E3,
they're taking away value, right? They're taking away value.
Taking away value
to be replaced with something, Otherwise, like people may kind of fall off.
Give me a reason. Give me a reason to dust this headset off. I want to play Ghostbusters. Give it to me free in August, right? Or something.
Right.
So if you are an Amazon/Twitch Prime member, you will get
my God, who isn't?
Who
Who
isn't
isn't
at
an
this
Amazon
point?
Prime member, right?
Who is at this
Amazon
point?
rules the world.
Who isn't
Right.
at this point? But Amazon and Twitch. If you've been living on a rock for many years, Amazon owns Twitch.
Right.
They bought it for like $2 billion.
Yeah. They bought it like 2-3 years ago at least. You know.
No, it was more than
at least
2-3
that
years.
long.
It was
there you
like
go.
2014, I think.
Right. They bought it a while ago, which is one of the best things Amazon could have ever done. It's a great platform, and now you get a year free of Nintendo Switch Online. No,
You do, which I just signed up for, which kind of is crazy because
you did that like right now.
I did that like before we started the show just to see how it worked. It kind of screwed me up because everything prior to that. I like to have all my yearly subscriptions in January, so I don't like miss out on something. Right? Like I know I got to do everything in January. Xbox, Xbox Live, Gold, PlayStation Plus, Nintendo Online. I paid Nintendo 1 month, and then I paid Nintendo 3 months just so I could pay them a year in January.
Yeah, just trying to get everything lined up. See, that's smart. That is like a nice little life hack, right? So everything falls under the same month and this and that. You renew all at the same time. You know exactly. January is my month. That's when everything like kicks over. You know, it's pretty smart. It's pretty smart. So the way that it works is you go to twitch.amazon.com/prime/loot/Nintendo. It's a little bit lengthy, and you can claim 3 months free, and then after the 3 months, you can get 9 months more on top of that, which is great, you know. And all you got to do is just like link your account, and then you're good to go.
I know, but I got the 3 months. I'm gonna link my account, and it's gonna throw me off.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
but
man.
I'm not paying for it, so it's okay.
No, you're not paying for it, so
I'm not paying for it.
It kind of makes it okay.
Yeah. All right. We talked about Stadia. All right. Google has entered the gaming sphere. Don't know. We don't know anything about that. They said this summer. I'm gonna guess E3. They should be at E3.
Yeah, they gotta have specs at the E3, some hands-on stuff with it, like.
And we talked about, I think last week, about Walmart talking about having their own streaming service, and Verizon Zero Dawn. Right, Verizon is talking about having their own stream. Everyone is throwing their hat in. This is like the early '90s. But Apple's coming in too. They're coming in a little bit different. They introduced Apple Arcade, right, for mobile. So developers, they're gonna have like a Netflix subscription service for curated mobile games.
Well, that's what. Yeah, this all shook out of their semi-annual press conference, right? And it was all about the services, all right? There was Apple Arcade, there was Apple TV Plus, Apple Newsstand, I think was another one. And they did it.
Well, I know we don't really talk about don't talk about like other tech. I mean, we talk about movies and video games, but just so you know, I'm a big Apple fan. I love Apple. I have everything Apple.
You do love Apple. Yeah.
I have everything Apple.
You do love Apple.
I am okay with the Apple newsstand, right? Because I would love to have like access to the Wall Street Journal, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good. I would pay for that. I don't pay for their music service.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not, because I'm not a big mobile gamer. I'm probably not going to play for the arcade,
right?
Apple Arcade, but I definitely will pay for that, the newsstand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's it's interesting. Apple does what Apple does, and they have this nice curated storefront which has hand-selected games. You know, Apple went out of their way to find developers to make, in some cases, exclusive games, right, to their platform.
I don't know if they're going to be timed exclusives, right? I would imagine they have to be exclusives. I mean, look at some of the games announced, right?
Not necessarily.
Look at some of the games announced. Oceanhorn 2, right? Knights of the Lost Realm. Oceanhorn 1, I have on the Vita, right? That came out on like every single. That I would assume they would want that on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One at some point. So I would say these are some of these are time exclusives, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we had our first sort of multi-platform game announced, right? Overland to get announced for every platform, even the Apple Arcade.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. And Sonic Racing is coming out for Apple Arcade, which is weird.
Right.
Right.
I mean, some games will work on a mobile platform. Some games won't. Like action beat 'em up games, right? You know, you have to put the controls on the screen. You need buttons. You need a D-pad. Those don't really work too well because your hands are over the screen, so like it kind of covers that stuff. You know, puzzle games work well. Shooters kind of work well. Games with tilting mechanics, like I think, pretty sure Sonic Racing is going to be a tilt game, right? You tilt it left, tilt it right.
Not necessarily.
Turn right.
I could see it. I could see it having those on screen controls, which suck.
See, but that's it's just not a good UI, and it covers some of the screen. Like, I don't know if that's how it's going to be. I don't know.
Well, I
don't know if I can get behind that.
I didn't see any. There's no pricing yet for the subscription service, and they said that developers will get paid based on the time users spend playing the game.
Right.
Which, again, is kind of weird because, and it doesn't matter if the game is good or not. The developers will develop the game to have you spend as much time as you can in the game, so they can pad their time so they can make money.
Right.
And you're not genuinely spending a lot of time in the game because it's a great game.
100%. I bet you that's going to affect devs and the output and the things they put together for the system or the platform, I should say. So, we'll see how that shakes out.
I wonder if Apple will be at E3 to have like exclusive games. Right.
I mean, maybe.
We're gonna have these new games only on Apple Arcade here live at E3.
Yeah.
Well, you know who's going to E3? Bethesda. We talked about that. They're gonna have an E3 press conference.
They do. Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah.
I wondered what they would say, right? Because I said they're not going to talk about Elder Scrolls 6. I said it. I was like, they're not going to talk about Elder Scrolls 6. They may have a patch or something new for Fallout 76. And they got Wolfenstein and Youngblood, which we'll talk about in a minute.
They do love Wolfenstein the Youngblood. I mean, Rage 2 is already going to be
Rage 2 is going to be already out.
So I don't know how much they're going to have, honestly. Like, unless there's new stuff that we haven't heard about yet.
But at E3, at PAX East, they had a Bethesda event, sort of a Q&A, everyone on stage, which we did not attend this year. We went to the Bethesda event last year.
We did, yeah. Pretty good.
Todd Howard from Bethesda pretty much said that Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 will not be at E3 this year.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have Wolfenstein and... question mark.
Yeah,
I don't know what else.
Okay,
I don't know what else. It's going to be all brand new.
We're going to combine two stories into one because Wolfenstein: The Youngblood got a release date of July 26th, which is after E3, right?
Just after E3, right?
It's just after E3, and that's coming out on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I give you 10 guesses to see which platform I'm going to buy it for.
All of them. You're going to buy it for all of them.
I'm going to buy it on the Switch. I'm sorry. I'm just going to buy it. I didn't buy Wolfenstein. I didn't buy Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch. I do have Doom. I supported Bethesda when they brought Doom to the Switch. I will buy
PC all the way, man. PC all the way.
I know you're going to get on a PC.
PC all the way.
But as far as,
beautiful.
Rage 2 will be out before E3. Wolfenstein and Youngblood will be out a month after E3. We already know about that. So what will they announce at E3? Now they got Doom Eternal.
It's going to be new properties.
Well, Doom Eternal. They have Doom Eternal, right?
They do have Doom Eternal. They'll probably see some more stuff about it.
I think that'll be released this year.
I think so. Because they showed off Doom Eternal earlier this year, right? And it looked amazing.
But they showed off Doom Eternal. They showed off Doom Eternal at Stadia event.
That's right. And it looked amazing.
There was a little input lag.
Well, I mean, on that particular platform, sure, yeah.
But it looked amazing. But it did look amazing. I'll give you that. And that's coming. I would assume that has to be coming on the Switch. I think they said it was coming on the Switch too. Wolfenstein Youngblood, I think, was ported by Panic Button. They do a great job with porting all the other games. So definitely. I think they're bringing Doom Eternal to the Switch. Don't know what platform I'm going to buy it on just yet. I'm probably going to get it on the PS4 when it actually gets announced. If it's even for this gen, I think it will be, but we don't know yet. I think we have to get a release date at E3.
Right.
And if they're not going to Starfield Elder Scrolls 6, I honestly, I think it will be more gameplay of Wolfenstein. We'll get a release
There's
date
got to be some
for.
new stuff in the mix, though, right? You can't just have
Well,
here's some
I think
stuff that we announced before.
well,
Gotta
I
be
think
some other new stuff.
we'll get numbers for Rage 2 if they're good. Wolfenstein will get another trailer. I think does Bethesda have like a card game? I think maybe there'll be some things about that. We will get a patch or something. They will poke fun or get a patch. I think they will
I
poke
was
fun
waiting for you to say this, Dan. Fallout
they will get-
76?
They will poke fun of themselves
They gotta do
and put out
something,
a patch for Fallout 76.
Yeah. Hey, guys, we fixed the game, so now it's playable. Out now!
Yeah, and then we'll get like we're not. I think we'll get sort of like an Evil Within 3,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I think Evil Within 2 came out 2 years ago. It did okay for them. I think we'll get Evil Within 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's too early for a Prey game, right?
Mhm.
A sequel, another sequel, the third installment, right?
They could always tease it, per se, but yeah, they probably wouldn't have a full-on, like, here's a new game trailer coming out next year. Yeah.
And Dishonored's on the shelf for the time
Mhm.
being, right?
Mhm.
They even said that. So I think all hands are on deck for. I think this is sort of going to be like a mini press conference, and I think all hands will be on deck for next gen 2020. But that's the
Mhm.
2020 when they.
Mhm.
I still don't think we'll get an Elder Scrolls 6 anything in next year. I think Elder Scrolls 6 is a 2025 game. But
2025?
yes,
No, get out of here. No way.
All
way.
hands on deck for Starfield, baby.
No way.
All hands on deck.
No
They
way.
even
They're
did
not
all
gonna. Fallout. Elder Scrolls 6 will be because Skyrim was 2011. All right, when Skyrim first dropped was 2011.
We'll get a Fallout.
Skyrim dropped on the 360. All right, Skyrim was not a Xbox One game. They obviously ported it to everything in the microwave. By the way, the microwave edition is definitely the best one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd say 2021.
We'll get
2021, the latest.
We'll get Fallout 5 before we get Elder Scrolls.
Oh, you want to make a bet on that?
I'll take that bet.
I don't bet. You forgot about earlier in the show. We're done.
I'll take that bet.
No. We don't. We definitely don't bet anymore.
I take that bet. So this will be an interesting E3 because this is the transition year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
everyone's
100% the transition year.
everyone's announcing that they're going to be at E3 or not be at E3 if you're PlayStation, but it's like, well, what are you going to show if you're holding everything back for next gen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or will you reveal next gen if you're Xbox? Because they said they're going to go big. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. So this is going to be interesting E3. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Again, I hate to talk about these things because they're really hard to talk about, and it's sort of a downer, right? But EA, who will be at E3, just not doing a traditional press conference, thank God, because I think the worst out of all the shows. EA just laid off 350 employees.
Yeah. I mean, reports say that it's not developers, but more, I guess, PR
marketing, PR and marketing teams, right? I mean, they all got good severance packages, which is good to hear because they got laid off. They're going to get fired for any particular reason. It's just weird.
I'm not saying it doesn't suck, but I guess they're just kind of trying to trim the fat a little bit. I think the reports are that they're trying to appease the shareholders and get their stock price up, right? So they're kind of cutting unnecessary jobs out of there. Which I get, companies got to do what they got to do to stay alive, and they are obviously a big company with shareholders, so I know it's easy to. Well, go ahead.
I mean, listen. I know I know it's easy to take shots at them, right?
Yeah.
And I understand. People they got to lay off to trim the fat. I get it.
Yeah.
But come on, take a page out of Nintendo's book where you're making $20 million, $30 million in bonuses, and you're a CEO. You really need $30 million. I hate to count other people's money, but you know what? Some of that can go to some of these other people so they don't have to get laid off, and they can have a good morale.
Dan. Is that compassion? Is that compassion I'm hearing?
I'm a very compassionate person. I'm a very compassionate person.
I see that. Level around. Look at that. Props to you. There you go. That's the attitude.
I know I can be a hard ass. But I'm a
attitude
compassionate person underneath this thick skin here. And also, all right, so let's end with the Sega Fest.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh.
So Sega Fest happened in Japan while we were in E3, literally 2-3 o'clock in the morning our time, Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna get into everything that happened at Sega Fest, but the big thing that happened at Sega Fest was we got a release date for the Genesis Mini, right? And it's coming out this year, September 19th.
Now, wait. You mean At Games is making a new model of the Genesis, right?
No, I'm not talking about all the BS Genesis minis you see in stores, in Walmart, and formerly Toys R Us too, as well, and Target, which I almost got tricked and bought one in Target. No, I'm not talking about those. This is not an At Games system. Sega is making it themselves.
Oh.
Thank God.
Oh, they've finally wised up.
This will be a quality product, I hope. Let's see.
It's
the Genesis or Mega Drive for people outside the US. 30th anniversary. Join the 16-bit revolution. They will actually come with two controllers, old school Genesis controllers, right? Which I love, by the way. I think it's one of the most underrated controllers of all time, even because we're not.
It is definitely a good controller, if it's really
3
nice
buttons.
in the hand. Had a nice curve to it, right? So it looks like it's going to be the OG 3-button Genesis controller, right? We do know that 10 games have been announced so far.
Formerly, the other Genesis minis had the 6-button controller.
Right. Which
and they were wireless, and I gotta tell you, I can't use them because I can't unscrew the little thing to put the battery in, which just sucks.
Well,
so these look like they're wired.
They had a ton of issues with them, right? This is a little less. It's a little more no frills, but it looks like it's going to be quality. So I would take that over any sort of like wireless option or whatever, because obviously there's tons of problems, right? Like you said, you can't get the batteries out, so it's useless.
Well, I can't get the batteries in. I can't put the batteries in.
Right.
The screw won't open. I can't get the screw open.
Right. So 40 games got announced, or 40 games are announced for the system. They gave us 10 so far, and that includes Altered Beast, Castlevania Bloodlines, Comic Zone, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Echo the Dolphin, Gunstar Heroes, Shining Force
Expensive
1,
game.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog, Space Harrier 2, and Toe Jam and Earl. That's like 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
I got a Shake Shack bet that they put Sonic 2 in it.
Of course they're going to put Sonic 2 in it, and they're going to put Sonic 3, and they're going to put Sonic Knuckles.
They won't
That's
put Sonic 3. Sonic 3 is not a guarantee. Sonic 3 is because of the music rights. It's nowhere. You can barely buy Sonic 3 anywhere.
I mean, maybe. I have it on my Xbox 360. They did re-release it a couple of times.
I have it on my 360 too, but it's
there you go.
It's Sonic 3 is not on any of the
maybe not because we have the whole like Michael Jackson we know has been confirmed that he did some music with Sega because him and Sega were super tight. Obviously they published and produced the Moonwalker game, I think the arcade one and the Genesis home console version, which were two completely different games.
Well, he wasn't credited. Well, no, he wasn't credited with the music, but it's widely speculated that
no.
That he did have a hand in the music, and they sort of backed out because of the child. There was a lot of allegations Michael Jackson
going around that time, so they Sega didn't want to necessarily like smear their good name, I guess. So understandably, they kind of left him out of the credits, but. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much confirmed at this point.
But it will be $79.99, which is a good price. It's definitely cheaper than the PlayStation the PlayStation Mini when it first came out.
I don't know. Do we know if it's going to come with two controllers or one?
If you look at the box art, it looks like it's coming out with two controllers.
Right. See, there you go. 2-player action. Boom. It's fantastic. Me and Dan are going to be picking this up day one, and I have a good hunch that it's going to be like sold out everywhere. I think people are going to be jumping on this like super quick.
I don't think they will jump on it super quick. but I think they'll get onto it later on, and it'll be sold out later. I don't think it'll be sold out right away like the NES and the SNES.
You're thinking that, fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah,
situation, right?
Yeah, I think people are gonna wait.
Cautious about it.
I think people are gonna be cautious about it until other people buy it and start reviewing it, right? And then once they see its quality, then it'll fly off the shelf.
I mean, given the 10 games we know so far, like I am super.
I'm gonna pre-order. I'm sorry.
Shining Force and Gunstar Heroes alone, I'm in. So, yeah, we will definitely be keeping up with coverage on this. It is coming out this year. I think you said on the 19th, right, of September. So, got a nice little fall drop to kick off the holiday season, I guess, right? So that'll be good. And that about does it for episode 157, folks. Remember that we are going to have a special episode, our PAX kind of roundup episode. Our kind of 4-day weekend, 5-day weekend, I guess. Episode 158 will be the PAX episode, so stay tuned for that. And we want to thank all the good fans for doing all the good stuff that you do, and kind of following us and interacting with us, and all that good stuff. If you want to interact with us, and we know you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Remember, we have a contest running for the month of April. For the next, head to Rated G, the Rated G Twitter, and follow our post. And there'll be instructions on kind of how to enter. You basically have to follow us, retweet the post, and tag 2 friends, and you'll be entered. Winners will be picked in 2 weeks' time, so stay tuned. We'll announce the winner on the show. So please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.